All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Wonder Egg Priority, episode 13.
All right, this is the special.
Mm-hmm.
This is the,
oh boy.
Hey, guys, you know, we did 12 episodes of the show, and, you know...
Technically.
Yeah, we technically released that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But you know, we need to put an end cap on all this, you
yep,
know?
That's right.
Which means, of course, you want 27 minutes of recap.
Right.
Before we get to the actual new content.
When there was already a recap episode in this one core show.
Yeah, but I think the main reason for that is because, you know, there was so much good, dense story packed into the last few episodes after all the recap that, you know, it'd be hard to keep it all, you know, in tandem there.
Yes, definitely.
You know, your mind might be on the fritz, you know, something like that. You know?
Yeah.
That might be, you know, worthwhile having.
Sure, because it will all make sense after this.
Exactly. But for you guys, of course, we're not doing the recap. We're doing a reaction strictly of the stuff that is actually new content. So we'll be syncing that up with the full lengths on there. There will be a timer that shows you exactly, like, at what point we're starting, and you guys can follow along with us there.
Exactly.
So there shouldn't be any issues in that regard. But, hey, you know what? There's a lot of things that you can do that are good here. Possibly. Because while the show kind of became a hot mess of a train wreck of a interdimensional whatever.
Dumpster fire and...
Yeah. There's some good characters in here, you know?
No, if I were to actually think, like, say what I want out of this, if I were to guess,
specific.
even though I doubt that we'll get it, given that we didn't actually deal with Frill in the other episode, and Frill seems to be where they're taking it, I want the teacher to actually be addressed. I don't like how that left off.
Yeah.
Make him actually as much of a scumbag as he seemed set up to be, and then defeat him.
I feel like the kind of thing we're almost expected here is a little bit of a time-skipped, just disconnected mini thing of, like, here's what's going on now. Here's where we can tease a season 2 that will never happen, you know?
Yeah.
God. That didn't even make me hurt. Like, I'm already cringing so much inside that, like, the usual, like, popping sound of that would make me, like, freak out. It's just,
let's go.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below and come back here for the discussion. All right, so as I understand it here, they had a couple twists in mind that they probably wanted to show in season 2 and 3.
Yep.
And they're like, you know what? That it was always an AI.
Okay.
And that her thing of saving her sister was to bring the humanity of the sister back into the real world.
Yeah, and
interesting.
That concept, cool. So many of the episodes that we had in the second half of the first season or of the show were just completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
For that end, I appreciate that with this limited time that they had, and with what little they chose to actually do in this episode. The one thing that they actually, like, made a nod back to of, like, yeah, that was kind of weird how we didn't address this, was the whole thing of Neru's sister. Because that was like, yeah, let's see the resolution of her character arc. And the idea that it's like, okay, there was actually, like, giving some explanation for why it all happened and why she wanted to save her.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. But, like, couldn't you have just, like, taken the whole episode with Frill and then just had it be that story instead?
Right.
Like, you could have still had it be AI or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And but
anyway, at least they even tried to give us some kind of character resolution to everybody. But I feel like outside of the really unnecessarily creepy stuff with the teacher, Oto's story was kind of finished in a depressing just way in the previous episode. So having this one be more about her interacting with the friends and stuff, and then realizing, no, I am going to go back there. I am going to try and do what I can.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm going to lose myself in the process. I'll give it a shot. That 90 seconds bit at the end, that's good.
Yeah. but even
then
the
there
lead
were
up
20
to that,
minutes of nothing, basically.
yeah, really nothing, and even worse than nothing. Things where it's like,
It actively contradicted some things from the earlier bits of the show.
Actively contradicted some things, but then there was also this notion that they wanted to basically set up a new status quo in the finale, where then they're resolving those things. Like you didn't need to do that. Like what you had from the previous stuff was actually pretty straightforward.
Right.
Just have it be like some, I don't know, them dealing with the fact that they ate the pieces of their, summon friends or whatever. Like, I don't know.
But I did not buy at all the idea that they were suddenly so distraught about having lost their little summoned pets.
Right,
either.
have it be focused.
To quit everything.
Right, like if you're going to be distressed about that, show that they're distressed about the fact that they were forced to eat their flesh. Right, like that seems like it would be a lot more traumatizing.
And whether or not you lost them.
Right, and then you could deal with the trauma of what happened rather than what this episode was, which was mostly, again, felt like an atmospheric piece of scaffolding for some other story,
which never came. You don't have the space for that.
Yeah,
and then also, I just had to say, it really, really grossly tacked on the idea that all the stuff with Koito, that was all just her going crazy. She was like screaming all this stuff that I had done these horrible things to her and raped her and stuff, but no, that didn't actually happen.
Right,
and since it's coming from this empirical interview style bits of narration from the teacher himself, it was just really gross and weird.
This episode felt like it was written with the knowledge that they were not going to be able to animate much, like that it was going to be a lot of still images. Make sure that
just dubbing over scenes.
With no lip flaps, like show literally anything while people are talking, And given that, then the kind of direction that the writing decided to take makes a little bit more sense, not narratively, but like from a production side of things, sure. But
there was so many nothing scenes that were brought in, like the idea of Adam the Rat.
Yeah, Adam the Rat. What is that? The whole thing of Oto running through. At first, it seems like the rain, but then it looks like she's just running on top of like an ocean or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like no, she's just actually. Then we go back to having backgrounds and stuff, and it's like.
Yeah. And then she bumps into Koito initially, but then it's like, no, actually, this is not Koito. This is
or Neru that isn't Neru. Yeah.
Yeah, the Neru that isn't Neru. Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think what they're trying to point at here is that Oto does not want to abandon her friend because the time that they spent with her was real, even if she might not be exactly what they thought she was.
Right.
The efforts that they did to save the other girls still resulted in them being saved, even though there was some things that were lost in the transition of that with regards to their memories of the main characters.
It felt like, again, which again feels weird that this was done after coming back to the series.
Yeah.
That it was the whole thing of let's resolve the technical plot things rather than the thematic character journey emotional stuff.
Yeah, so it doesn't fit thematically half the time.
Like the whole concept, I thought, like, what was built up is that yes, they're trying to save their friends. Yes, the statues get warmer, but that's not what this is about. It's not about whether they can save their friends or not. It's about them resolving things within themselves. And to that end, I kind of didn't expect them to ever actually be able to save their friends, right? Where they'll find out what's going on and then they'll have some different revelation or something like that. I don't know, right? But it's like, oh no, we're going to show how their friends were all saved, how that works mechanically within the world, but we're not really going to show it. It's more going to be told to you. And
this show had so much potential going for it in the first 5 to 7 episodes, and it just shat the bed.
And I feel like even this episode could have worked a lot better if they basically took the a lot of like the screensaver, like still shots, with narration or whatever, consolidated it to the beginning, gave us like 4 minutes of like narration exposition of like, this is what happened, this much time has passed, blah, 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 this is the situation that we're in now. And then we could be hopefully maybe getting a little bit immersed in what's happening in the episode, rather than the emotional moments being more about telling us what has happened in the past, rather than like...
I still don't think if they wanted to have a 20-minute episode essentially in this, they could have done it and actually salvaged it. I think the main problem is that there's no through line for the characters' interactions, really. Like, they're just kind of there to interact. If anything, there's a slight little bit of something going through with Oto's kind of solitary moments.
Yeah.
But that's more extremely giving a lot of grace to the show for impressionistic kind of...
Right. When the trust has already been broken for that.
Look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's very little, if anything, positive I can say about this other than, okay, cool. You kind of tried to end Oto's story in relation to the friends.
Right.
After doing that already, kind of with having Oto interact with herself in the previous episode, which had some actually kind of interesting dialogue and interactions and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I give you like very little marks. And I honestly like the previous episode. Like 2 or 3 times more than
That's saying
this.
something.
Yeah.
Like the only explanation I can give for why I think this would have happened is that it's the shit, but we did need to do that 13th episode contractually.
Well, yeah, of course,
so,
of course.
You know,
yeah, they just needed time to actually to have it finished, and they probably barely spit out the previous stuff because of production issues. So there we go, guys. That's Wonder Egg Priority.
Boy.
We've got a new show coming up that will be much, much better than this. Definitely. It's To Your Eternity.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah, thank you so much for going through this reaction series with us. This was probably one of the most unique reaction series we've ever done in that...
First 7 episodes are great.
We've actually watched something go so down so fast.
And then keep drilling.
And actually, we found some entertainment value along the way it was crashing down.
Yeah.
So it was worth actually finishing for the most part. But yeah, now let's go on to something that a lot of people are really excited for us to get into.
If you haven't heard of To Your Eternity, I highly recommend checking it out. I'm very excited to get into it, but it's from the same creator as A Silent Voice,
Which you should also
check out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we wore our curse shirts for a good reason.
Right, because
because of course we had to.
Yeah.
Of course we had to. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the full-length timer version of this reaction, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any level support there gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, better anime out there and stuff like that.
I still enjoyed the first episodes. I'm glad I watched this show for those first 7 episodes.
But also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.